We're experiencing a shortage of teachers in the state, and we've seen this increasingly grow over the last 10 to 15 years, in particular in our rural school districts.
Over time, I've just recognized that we've got a problem with teacher recruitment and teacher retention. And so I feel passionately about what are we going to do to correct that and move it in a different direction.
First and foremost, what we have to really think about are how we address the pipeline of teacher talent. I think one of the mistakes we make is when we look only at recruitment. We think that the solution will be in, let's just get more people to be classroom teachers. Or we focus solely on, once we get them there, how do we keep them there? It's really going to take a comprehensive plan of action that is going to need to address all parts of the pipeline so that we can ensure that we have a robust workforce in place.
We've taken a lot of different approaches to addressing the talent management issue within the teaching profession. In particular, we've placed a lot of attention on increasing the base salary and providing salary supplements and incentives to teach in high-need fields or in high-need geographic areas. But the results of our utility analysis of employment conditions indicated that it's salary and these other conditions. We studied the relative importance of 25 factors that have been examined in prior research, and surprisingly, salary was about middle of the road, and actually administrative support, self-confidence to be an effective teacher in rural communities, safe and clean school facilities, and those kind of factors were actually the most important in terms of making the decision to teach in a rural school district.
We do have a problem with retaining teachers, especially in our rural districts. And so we've talked about a couple of different things. One, we got to do something with the pay salary. We've got to increase the salary for teachers. Also, we have teachers coming out of our colleges of education concerned about the amount of debt that they have. So, you know, I would hope that our General Assembly would take a look at loan forgiveness for teachers. Also, housing. That's difficult for many of our districts. There's no place for teachers to live, and so they're having to commute. The town of Saluda has done some great things with housing for teachers. Fairfield County School District's looking at doing some housing for teachers, so there's some opportunities there, but that needs to be done many places throughout our state.
As far as the compensation piece is concerned, that's going to involve the General Assembly, obviously. They've got to make that change. But fortunately, there have been a lot of advocates for making that kind of change. So what I've learned in the General Assembly is things don't move quite as quickly as you would like for them to move, so we just have to keep advocating for this change and convincing them that it's best for us and best for our state and best for our economy and best for our prosperity to have the very best teachers so that we have the very best students.
I think a big part of how we address the issue of teacher supply is going to rely in part on growing our own teachers from rural communities. I've lived in rural communities, I've lived in towns of 2,000 people that are very isolated, and it takes a special person to want to live there, to be part of the community, and those are the people that we need teaching in rural school districts.
I also feel like in order to retain teachers that they need mentors, because we lose many of our teachers within the first 5 years, and if we would have a trained mentor to work with these teachers, not just the first year, but the first 3 years, would be very helpful. So we're looking at a lot of different things because we have a terrible teacher shortage in South Carolina, and teaching is a great profession.
I was a third grade teacher in Orangeburg for 7 years, and so I understand the importance of having high quality, high trained professional educators in the classroom. And so with my job now, it's important that I advocate for public education and advocate for the recruitment and retention of teachers and programs that support that effort, that support having teachers that are here in South Carolina or those interested in pursuing a degree in education, that we provide support and resources for them. Grow your own type programs here in South Carolina, I think, should be the focus. Along with Carbon Minister Teaching Fellows, those programs come to mind immediately because they provide the support, not just financially, but they just build strong men and women to go into our classrooms and work with our most precious resource, our kids.
We have suggested to the General Assembly that they add an enhancement to the Life Scholarship for teaching. We have enhancements for people going into math and science and the health field, and we need teachers.
I think the immediate thing that we can do is offer sustainable support for those teachers. Comes from leadership at the school level as well as from the state level. Just support for those teachers that are currently in the classroom so they stay in the classroom. A lot of teachers love teaching in rural areas, but they necessarily want to live in a different zip code. Let's pay for their mileage to work in those underserved areas. The public relations side of it when it comes to public education, I think is something everyone can join in. You know, whether you're a teacher or not, if you are a parent, if you're a grandparent, if you're a community stakeholder, if you're a board member, if you're just someone that wants to see your community thrive, talk up public education, support public education, support the teachers, volunteer in your schools, get involved politically, make sure you're registered to vote. Those are things that everyone can do immediately. It doesn't take any law for those things that I just mentioned to happen.
I think we have to make it fun for teachers to come to work every day. I think we have to raise the bar on valuing that profession in this country and recognizing they're just as important as doctors and engineers and accountants and bankers because at the end of the day they hold the future of our children and their education. And tell me what's more important than that.